Money comes in all ways, when you are aligned with your gifts and talents, serving the way you were made. This is scientifically proven. And when you test the theory, money just flows and it makes us feel calm, peaceful, and helps us work towards that financial freedom. These are the conversations we are having in The Smell of Money, a community on School where we think about how we want our relationship with money to be. Plus, there's cash flow quickies to give you immediate wins. Members are saving $500 to $2,000 just by being aware of their money. Come join us. The link is in the description. Money comes in all ways, when you are aligned with your gifts and talents, serving the way you were made. This is scientifically proven. And when you test the theory, money just flows and it makes us feel calm, peaceful, and helps us work towards that financial freedom. These are the conversations we are having in The Smell of Money, a community on School where we think about how we want our relationship with money to be. Plus, there's cash flow quickies to give you immediate wins. Members are saving $500 to $2,000 just by being aware of their money. Come join us. The link is in the description.
Cash flow, confidence, wealth. Welcome to iDateMoney. If you're making money but still wondering where it all went, if you're ready to organize your cash flow, build confidence with money, and create lasting wealth, you're in the right place. I'm Lisa Drennon, wealth activator, creator of the Money Multiplier System, and founder of the Smell of Money community. If you're a multi-passionate female entrepreneur who's making money but not building wealth, this podcast is for you. Each week, you'll discover practical strategies to organize your cash flow, keep more of what you earn, eliminate debt, and build lasting wealth with confidence. So grab your favorite essential oil, take a deep breath, and let's sniff our way to cash flow, confidence, and wealth.
Tangled ball, a hot mess. You ever go fishing and the reel gets all twisted up and you're thinking, my goodness, how am I ever going to untangle this? And then you just don't. You just give it up, probably throw it away. Or maybe you're somebody who's really patient and decides to spend the time to unravel it. One of my clients described her messy money situation like this fishing reel before we started working together in the Wealth Accelerator. And in the community, The Smell of Money, she did a beautiful graphic of this tangled mess of her money and then her crushing on her money by implementing the strategy of the Money Multiplier System. These are some of the conversations we're having inside The Smell of Money, where single and divorced mompreneurs are getting together and sharing their hearts about their relationship with money. And you know where it all starts? With you. How we think about money determines the money that we will have. And it's that simple. Not easy, but if you want to know more, join The Smell of Money today. The link is in the description. Today, we have a consciousness awareness professional and the creator of the Learn to Love Being You program. Don't you love that? A 10-week journey designed to help people break free from anxiety, self-doubt, and the emotional spirals that keep them stuck. Everyone who's listening, please raise your hand because I know this is you. Please welcome Mike Wood, who after rebuilding his own life from the inside out, has dedicated himself to helping others rewrite their beliefs that shape their reality and reconnect with a part of themselves they forgot they had. You know how we all put ourselves on the back burner. As COO of Jarrett Companies, Mike has led hundreds of high-stakes, emotionally charged conversations, experiences that shaped his direct, no-nonsense approach to personal transformation. He blends spiritual insight, grounded psychology, and a goofy sense of humor to help people open up, relax, and finally breathe. And that's exactly what we love to do in The Smell of Money. Welcome, Mike. We're excited to have you here. Tell us, what was it like when you couldn't breathe? What was that journey, especially with your relationship with money and you?
Well, thank you first off for that introduction. That was amazing. What was it like for me? Trying to make that transformation. It was difficult. I couldn't breathe. I felt like everything that I had achieved out in the world, chasing money and status and all those things, I thought they were all going to make the noise in my head stop, and none of it ever did. In fact, it got louder and louder. Once I had everything that I thought I would need to quiet my voice down, and my voice just the voices in my head just got louder and louder. And it was honestly, it was terrifying because there was nothing left. At 45 years old, I'd achieved everything. I had the house, the family, the wife, best friend. Everybody's healthy at home with all my kids, making more money than I ever thought. And I was more miserable than I could have ever been. So that was kind of my breaking point when I realized there was nothing left for me to go achieve to find happiness and quiet the noise in my head. And I turned my focus inward, and, something changed after that.
Yeah, and having that pivotal moment, and you mentioned 45, I think something happens in our 40s
It
where we
does.
just get triggered, and everyone believes that you have to chase money. And I'm like, no, money just wants to be adored. It doesn't want to be chased. And when we think about all the things we build up, I was watching a movie over my travels. What was it called? The Roof Man, I think it was called. But it was about this guy who was in the military, and he got out and was having a hard time adjusting to civilian life and, getting a job. And he ended up robbing like the McDonald's and local merchants to get money to provide for his family because he wanted to give them gifts, like gifts that they loved. And he just never felt like he had enough money, and he had stolen so much money. It was based on a true story. And at the end, he realized like all the money in the world isn't what my family wanted. They wanted me. They wanted me to be present, and they wanted me to be there for them. And I thought, that's so important. And a lot of times we can't be present for ourselves because we don't even like ourselves.
Yeah.
So, what did you discover on your journey about what you didn't like about yourself that helped you create your program and what you're doing to help others today?
Well, very much along line to hold the story that you just told, I realized that, the universe is going to give me the state of being in which I am, right? If I'm creating a state of lack, the universe is going to give me a state of lack. And in terms of money, if I'm constantly fretting I don't have enough, well, the universe is going to give me lack. And I learned to just be grateful for what I had, stopping and taking stock in how far I had can come, because I couldn't read when I was 25 years old. I had a rare form of dyslexia, and I went through school uh, just just doing everything I could to get by with C's and D's. Got out into the real world, did learn how to read, but the noise and the old negative core beliefs that said I wasn't smart enough, they lasted long into my late 40s.
Mhm.
And those what I realized is that when we are constantly living with those voices in our head that says we have a lack, the universe is just going to give it to you. And then when you flip it, you say, I'm healthy today. I'm grateful that I woke up today. I have everything that I need. The universe is going to start giving you everything that you need. It's going to start treating you that way. And that, to me, that was the biggest shift in terms of money and abundance out in the real world. It's just changing my
Mhm.
mindset.
Yeah, my journey started with an attitude of gratitude, and it's something that we always preach to our children. And it's just like, oh, I should, implement this myself. But it does change the way we think about everything. And it
It
was one of
does.
our non-negotiables in the Wealth Accelerator is to, minimum three of what you're grateful for and why. And you're right, it gives back. It creates that reciprocal energy of giving and receiving. So, what was one thing that you wish you knew, especially towards money, that you learned along the journey?
That it wasn't going to make me happy. It was never going to make me happy. I thought it was going to make me happy. And don't get me wrong. I mean, if you can't feed your family, money is going to give you, something that is going to make you happy today. But once you get to the point where you're feeding your family and you pay for the roof over your head, then money, it stops being that thing. And we think that it is. It's going to give us more comfort. It's going to give us, and at some point, it does stop. It doesn't give you or fulfill anything inside of us at some point. The most important thing that we can give anyone is our time, our presence. Once we've fed our family, like the story that you were telling earlier, the most important thing that we can give anyone is 100% of our undivided attention, not waiting to talk. Those type of things really start to shift our perspective on realizing that if we just live in the present moment and we're not trying to figure out a way to avoid the present moment, life just gets really beautiful really quick.
Just really enjoying those tiny moments and understanding like this is what I'm here, and then really having that balance, those boundaries of working your business, especially as solopreneurs. We tend to pour so much in because we're wearing so many hats, and we don't realize it. We don't give ourselves credit, and we end up getting burnt out because we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not appreciating what we have built. When we think about the journey, the ups and the downs, and the lessons that shape who we are, automatically reflects in our business.
Oh
So,
yeah.
what were some of the ups and downs that you've experienced that helped you shape your business to give you that balance and those healthy boundaries?
Well, the biggest thing that helped me in business was, I had that spiritual break around 45 years old, and I just started turning all my focus inward. And when you start turning your focus inward and saying, all right, this is where I'm messing up, the world's not against me. What every failure is an opportunity to get better. It's an opportunity to learn something. And I started to just really take that on like as a badge of honor. Every time I made a mistake, I was like, what did I do? I could get better from that. I got excited about it. Like, all right, this is an opportunity to grow. And when I took that into business, it changed everything. It literally changed everything because as a leader, when I took responsibility for something, it created a safe place for employees to make a mistake, take ownership themselves, and not live in a constant state of fear. Because one of the things that we're talking about here is, people living in with anxiety and depression, and not we haven't really said those words yet, but that's what's happening when we're talking about all this difficult times that people are going through. It that there's a switch in our heads that's going to produce cortisol or oxytocin. Most everybody knows what cortisol is, but oxytocin is a love drug. It's its equal opposite. And we're producing one or two of those things at all times, and you're going to produce one or the other based on the content of your thoughts. So just by taking ownership of something, saying that this is where I messed up, but I'm going to get excited about this and now I'm going to get better. It turns that negative into a positive, and now I'm producing oxytocin, and I can use the full capacity of my brain. And now the people around me are able to use the full capacity of their brain because they're not in a fearful state that I'm going to be blaming them for the problem. Like, what'd you guys do? Why'd you guys screw this up? Instead, we're all sitting around going, how can we all get better? Like, guys, we made a mistake as a group here. I messed up this way. And now when I say I messed up, I immediately started to notice how many people would say, Mike, you didn't mess up. I could have done this and this better. It creates a safe environment. And science has proven that when we get in a state of cortisol, a fearful state, our intelligence levels drop by 40 to 60%. And so if you're trying to build something, grow a company, just do well in business, period, we need the full capacity of our brain. And if we're not in a safe environment, it's going to be difficult to experience the opportunity, to take advantage of the opportunities that are right in front of us because we're so terrified looking to protect ourselves that we're not seeing the opportunities to grow and learn and prosper.
Mm-hmm. And it's so important to be aware. And I know admitting that you messed up is really challenging,
Yeah.
because failure is not an option. But there's so many mistakes that we make, and it's embarrassing to have to admit it. But once you do it, it's almost freeing,
Yeah.
and you can identify, like, emotions are so hard to identify sometimes because we just, we immediately go to anger or sadness, and there's nothing in between, when the reality is there's so many emotions in between. And we get so good at ignoring them that we don't ever process it. And one of the things, like, I'm a certified aromatherapy practitioner. So one of the things we do in the Wealth Accelerator is implement that practice to help change our thoughts and our feelings towards whatever blockers we have that keep us from what we define as success. And wealth means something different to each of us. So now that you've gone through this journey, how do you define wealth?
I define wealth in my current state right now, right here with you. If I am in a positive, energetic, happy, grateful state, like I'm as wealthy as I could ever be. And it's
Mm-hmm.
my goal to just stay in that state all day long, every day. And of course I'll get pulled out of it from time to time, but the more we practice and we learn how the mind works, you could stay there. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, that's where it's at. I heard this thing the other day, and it was actually extremely true. But it took a study of over 1,000 people who were extremely negative, like all day long, every day negative, and it took the same with equally positive people, and they gave them a test in this magazine, and they said, hey, I want you to flip through this magazine and count the pictures. And so everybody went through, and if you counted all the pictures and you got the accurate number, you get $100. So all the people went through there and did it. The people who were negative went through and counted. The people who were positive saw things that the others didn't see. They saw one of the pictures said there's 57 pictures in here. And then towards the back of it, there's another picture that said, if you see this picture and you mention it, you'll get another $100. 85% of all of the people who are innately positive were able to see them. 85% of the people who are innately negative didn't see either one of those pictures. And so when we're in a positive state, we have more perception. We have the ability to see more available to us, and we don't miss these opportunities that are right in front of us that we just don't see, because in a state of fear, our body gets clammed up. When we get cortisol pumping through us, we are not operating at our optimal state of mind.
That's an interesting viewpoint. I never thought about it that way, as far as, the cortisol affecting your thought process. Like, we always think about it affecting our midsections and keeping us up all night long. And I didn't realize that it actually affected our thought process as well. That's really interesting. When you think about that psychology, how can you expand more on that?
Oh, absolutely. Scientists call it the default mode network, and it's what was designed for us to use in short moments of fearful state. We're out in the jungle and a lion's going to come get us. We know there's a lion close by, so we're in the default mode network. All we could think about is that lion and us staying alive. But as soon as we get away from that lion and whatever, we're supposed to go back into a calm state and not be stressed about anything. But nowadays in our lives, we stay in that. We're constantly judging ourselves against somebody else. Fearful thought, boom, cortisol. We're worried about our job, boom, cortisol. How are we going to pay our bills? Boom, cortisol. I don't look good enough. I don't have the clothes to wear for this thing, the event I'm going to go to. Whatever it is, if it's negative, it puts us into cortisol. And that state of mind, it lowers our ability to think. In order for us to have full capacity of our brain, one of the tools I use in the first week of my program is gratitude, because 2 minutes of gratitude will shift you into that state of compassion and love. And then it tells the entire system that we're safe. It takes us off the default mode network and gives us full capacity of our brain power. And now we're able to think at the highest levels. Now we're able to see more in that magazine when we're flipping through it, because we have more perception. We're open to new ideas. We're open to creativity. In cortisol, we couldn't use creativity if we tried. And so the more we understand what's happening, and it's really, I believe, that the God, universe, whatever you believe, made us in a way that the opposite of love is fear. And we get to make a choice every single day which state of mind we want to live in. And if you make the choice to live in love and compassion and forgiveness, now all of a sudden the world just opens up to you. And I think that's how we're all supposed to be living. But most of us don't know it. The scientists, to go a little more deeper with the science, they call it habituation, because most of us are living with cortisol all day long, every day, and we feel bad. We feel terrible all the time, but we just get used to it. And scientists basically are saying we get used to feeling terrible, and they call it habituation. But we're not supposed to live that way. You can manually start to take control over your thoughts. And when you do, you start to take control of the chemicals in your brain. And when you start to do that, then you get to start using the full capacity of your brain to look inward and see what's actually going on and start to heal yourself.
Wow. That sounds so simple. Who knew all this, right? I'm really processing that so that we can be healthy. So your program sounds amazing. And I know a lot of our listeners are thinking, I need this. Like, some of them don't even take me time for 5 minutes a day.
Yeah.
So tell us more about your program and how our audience can get connected with you.
Sure. My program is, I'm actually got a book coming out in October, and it's called The Owner's Manual, or One Brave Breath, The Owner's Manual for Being Human. And that's really what my program is. It's an owner's manual for being human, because just like you said a second ago, we're never taught these simple things about how to regulate our emotions. And the first 3 weeks, it's all a bunch of manual tools like using gratitude, box breathing, going outside, stopping and smelling the roses. All of those things turns off the time traveling thoughts, brings us into the present moment where we can actually find peace. But it goes into a lot deeper than that. We get separation from our thoughts, and we really break down how the mind and body works as it produces thoughts. There's a reason, there's a systematic thing that's happening in our brains with these random thoughts. They're seemingly random, but they're not. And once we understand how it works, we can take control over it. And that's the first third of my program, because the next deeper stuff that comes in after that is challenging. And it requires courage to turn inward and face your fears. But when you have these manual tools, So you can get upset and you can calm yourself down manually. It kind of sets you up for success. But, removing identities, forgiving yourself and others, and then going back to childhood memories and reframing them with love, compassion, and forgiveness, and letting go of them to where they don't haunt you anymore. And then the last one would be really just, you could do all those things, but if you're living a life for somebody else, if you're living it for your kids, if you're living it for everyone else but yourself, then you're still going to be miserable. So one of the last chapters or weeks is about authenticity and really making sure that we understand what it actually means to live an authentic life. And so that kind of rounds out the program. There's a little bit more to it, but I kind of just summed it up a little bit. But yeah, it's a lot.
Well, it sounds good. And 10 weeks is a great time frame for, investment for time and energy for our listeners. Not a lot of times you think about a program, it's like 12 months. I'm like, I don't have 12 months. I want to fix now. What can you do in 30 seconds? So I like that time frame. It makes it, doable so that we can chunk it down and implement it in our lives. I love how it starts with gratitude, because that's like the most simplest thing that we can do. But as humans, we just tend to complain and focus on the negative and what didn't work, when there's so many wonderful things that worked. And I know when ladies come into my Wealth Accelerator, they are seeing that once they implement it. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer, than it doesn't happen overnight, because if you think about the habits that we've created, they've been in a lifetime, right? So if you're 50 years old, 60 years old, 40 years old, doesn't matter. That's how long every single day you've had this bad habit and now you want to change it. It's going to take some time, and having somebody help you through it is so important. How can our audience connect with you and enroll in your program?
LearnToLoveBeingYou.com is how you find me. And I would love to give your audience a free gift. I would love to give you guys, everybody that's listening, I'd love to give you the first week of my program. It's basically showing you about gratitude and 5 other tools that are all manual, just like gratitude, that'll help bring you some peace in the present moment. And then I created 2 guided breathwork exercises. They're kind of guided meditation / breathwork that will alter your state. If you have a headache, you can do one of them, a grounding exercise. It'll make your headache go away. But the other one is a pranayama exercise, and it takes 30 minutes. And the first 10 to 15 minutes, you kind of flood yourself with oxygen, and all the anxiety in your body kind of rises. And then all of a sudden, poof, it's gone. It's like a plane glowing through the clouds. You come out the other side, and it's just this amazing feeling. For the next 15 to 20 minutes, you can't have a negative thought. And for most people, this is like one of the most amazing states that we can create just by altering our breath. It's super powerful. And I just want to give all that to everybody for free. And the way you find that is mwoodmindset.com/ and it's just for all of you guys that are listening here today. I don't typically give this stuff away for free, but I wanted you guys to have it.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. That's a wonderful gift. And we are so glad that you followed your passion and listened to your thoughts to, stop doing what you were doing and create this beautiful experience so that others can have that same joy and find true wealth, because we all know it begins with our thoughts. So thank you so much for being here, Mike, and sharing that beautiful gift. For those of you listening, please click on that link in the show notes. Go take advantage of this. I don't know how many of you come into the Smell of Money and just tell me that you have high anxiety, you can't sleep at night, and you don't know how to change it. Well, you can figure that out starting for free by visiting Mike's website. Click that link in the show notes, because remember, whatever you're doing, chasing money, it's not going to work. You're going to end up getting burnt out, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's what you do with it.
If today's episode helped you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with another entrepreneur who's ready to build wealth with confidence. And if you're ready to go deeper, come join us inside the Smell of Money, where we turn these conversations into action. Before you go, grab your favorite essential oil, take one deep breath in, and slowly exhale. Breathe in cash flow, exhale overwhelm. Breathe in confidence, exhale doubt. Breathe in wealth, and trust the woman you're becoming. Until next time, cash flow, confidence, wealth. This is Lisa Drennon, and you've been listening to iDateMoney. Keep trusting yourself, one money move at a time.